What's up, YouTube? Knight's Edge here again. Got another pretty unique little review of a pretty cool knife. This one was sent to me, loaned to me anyway, by Fred the Lug. So big shout out to Fred. He actually handed this to me in person. I got to meet him the other day. Him and his son Hayden are awesome people, so really appreciate you loaning me this one and many more. Fred's thanks to people like Fred that I can do regular knife content and put out my rambling reviews and overviews and stuff for you guys. So really appreciate that. Hit the like button if you like the content. Subscribe right down there if you want more of it. Thanks to all my channel members, Patreon subscribers. You guys are awesome. Without further ado, let's get into it. This is the Kansept Knives tipper. Now this is based on a really nice custom. I think they did a pretty decent job on this one, so spoiler alert, I do like this one. This is based on the custom, which is put out by Edgy Blade Works, and Edgy Blade Works is, you know, most of y'all that's watching this video probably know who Edgy Blade Works is. Scott Steele's from Edgy Blade Works. He's a knife maker out of North Carolina, Asheville. I think it's Asheville, North Carolina. So he does some pretty cool work and has a lot of really unique stuff, really nice customs. And he was nice enough to provide us with a way more affordable production version. This one, of course, OEM by Kansept, right? So let's go ahead. Skip the rambling intro here. Let's go ahead and we'll measure this one. Tip of the blade into the handle, you were looking just a hair under 8 inches, right at 8 inches, just a little bit under. Blade length, now if you measure laterally like this, this is why I measure in 2 different ways, but if you measure like this, you're looking at 3.5 on the dot if you go to the center of that choil if you measure laterally. But being as how it is quite a unique blade shape, you measure your what I call primary edge, you got 1.5 inches there. And your secondary edge, you've got 2 1/4 there. So you're looking at 3 3/4 cutting edge if you measure it like that. Or you can measure it diagonally and you got 3.5, right? So that's the reason, in case anyone ever wondered, why I do different types of measurements on Tontos and some other kind of unique blade shaped knives. So let's go ahead and get a blade stock thickness check. 162 thousandths, thickest part of the spine, and we'll measure the tip on your secondaries coming in around 24 thousandths on what I call the primary. Let me trying to get up on that as good as I can. Looks like a little bit under, right around 23.5, right around the same, right around 24 thousandths. And handle thickness, a little over 1/2 inch. What I would call right at a full-size knife. I know it's not quite 8 inches, but we'll go ahead and call that one a full-size knife. It definitely feels full-sized in hand. Oops, shaking the camera all around there. Sorry about that. Definitely feels what I would say is full-size in hand, and the broadness, you know, and this definitely contributes to it. Not your standard Tonto, right? Whenever you think Tonto, kind of a super broad with a fat, you know, broad belly, kind of a Tonto knife. So pretty unique. All right, less rambling. Let me get to the usual suspects here. That is the Cold Steel Knives 8010. All right, and there is your Demco Knives 8020.5. That is the slicer variant. You can see how broad that blade is right there compared to the 8010. Even a little more broad in some spots than 8010, which is what I would consider, you know, a pretty bulky, you know, large EDC knife. That is your Ontario Knives Rat Model 1 and Ontario Knives Rat Model 2. Right there. And the last two are the usual suspects anyway. Spyderco Knives Paramilitary 2 and your Spyderco Knives Para 3. Right, so definitely more cutting edge than the Para 3. I'm almost positive, yeah, more cutting edge than the Paramilitary 2, even lengthwise. Even if you just measure it long ways like that, more cutting edge than the Paramilitary 2. All right, let me get out last of the size comparisons. There is your DeWalt frame and hammer and your USA made crescent wrench. Of course, standard size comparisons for any knife channel. There you go. And here it is up against a fillet knife, just because I had that sitting right there. All right, let's do let's see, where is the, oh, there's the scale. All right, now this is, let me use the Pond's light here, milled out on the handle scales there. So they do have some internal milling on there. Really loud, kind of, I guess that's lightning anode on the handle scales. We'll get into that just in just a second. Overall weight, I think, I mean, I don't know. It feels to me, let's see, where's your balance point at on this one? Kind of right in this area right here. I'm gonna say 4.5 ounces. Maybe I'm way off. 4.9. All right, so 4.9 ounces on the weight. So definitely over the ounce and inch ratio, but not, you know, what I would say is a super duper heavy knife or anything. Let's see what the clip does here in the old faded blue jeans. Works pretty well, right? Really nice looking pocket clip that matches the anno on the handle, milled titanium pocket clip. Rides just like that, and pretty smooth, man. I mean, I think it goes in and out of the pocket pretty smooth with that clip, and I like how they annoed the clip and it matches the handle scales there. Let's see, this is a T8, I think. Yeah, T6. Get out my NAFS, little NAFS driver here. T6 pocket clip, T6 body, and T8 on the pivot. Yeah, T8 on the pivot. All right. Really wish it was T8 all the way around, but not too much hardware on here. You do have a really nice back spacer there. Again, anode titanium on the back spacer. Titanium the whole way around on the handle material. The blade is Damascus. Beautiful Damascus pattern there by Kansept. I'm not sure what combination of steels that Damascus is. I don't see it anywhere listed on their website. It just says Damascus for exceptional edge retention and toughness. You know, it is pretty. Don't know the edge retention on it. You know, that's the thing about Damascus. I wish they would list the combination of materials, you know, for Damascus. That would be really nice whenever companies do it. You know, if they could do that. You know, it might be listed somewhere, but on the website's description of it, I'm not seeing it. You know, just says Damascus on there. So they do have other versions of this one that come in S35VN. And I believe the other versions of this one are actually maybe about $10 cheaper. This one goes for $180, $179.89 in the Damascus. And the other versions, $2 cheaper, $177. So rounded up, about $180. Pretty solid, I think. Not a bad deal at all. I really like that blade pattern, like that blade shape. The secondary edge is, you know, you can actually use that to kind of cut and do draw cuts just with that. And if you're like pulling rope, you know, cutting rope, you know, pull it around, slicing rope, it works really good like that. Get a nice close-up of it. Really nice. Whoa, hit the camera there again. Really nice pivot collar on that one. It does have Eddie's other logo there. That's his more PC logo right there. If you guys know, you know what his other logo looks like, the two rhinos. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool, man. Really nice, really solid ergos on it. Feels pretty good. You got kind of like this swoop back going down here. And I have average size hands, I guess, or a large size glove. And my index is locked in right behind that flat right here when I'm choked back. So that feels pretty good. I got that flat right up next to that sharpening choil there. And the swoop up kind of also helps feel pretty locked in whenever you're choked up as well. Really super smooth action on this. Riding on bearings. Larger blade too, riding on bearings. So that's going to help out with that kind of almost fall shut action right there. Kind of like a buttery smooth action. You can reverse flick the thumb studs. Thumb studs work pretty well. Kind of your conical step up looking thumb studs there. You do have a lock bar insert right there, which prevents you from keeping, you know, bending that frame lock out too much. Frame lock works pretty good. That's your detent. That's where you're sitting out with your detent right there. Clearing that detent. No double clutch. Blade is perfectly centered. Smooth. Awesome knife. I'm going to put this on my most recommended knives playlist. Very unique blade shape, you know, to me. Since the first time the custom's actually the first one I saw, and I didn't realize they were in production. that Kansept was doing a production version of until Fred the Lug handed this to me. So really awesome, man. I like this one. Actually, no. I'm wrong about this. KDK sent me this one. That's right. Dan Kenman. So thank you, Kenman, for sending this one along. Sorry for forgetting that, but Fred has loaned me some other knives. I met him in person the other day, so I was kind of thinking this is actually one of his knives. But really nice one, man. Solid knife. And again, thanks, Kenman, for sending me this one. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all stay sharp.